In this video, I'm going to share with you a quick demonstration for ASP.NET Boilerplate using Postgre database, entity framework, as well as Swagger API to show you one entity is creating the create, read, update, and delete. In the previous video, we talked about ASP.NET Boilerplate. We look at some features on the backend side of things. We look at the front-end side of framework and some features that you get on the front-end side. We as well talk about NSwag, why we need it, and how we're gonna do NSwag in this framework. Now, moving on, for this video, it is important that you are at least familiar with one relational database. For example, if you're familiar with SQL Server or you're familiar with Postgre, it's better. However, it's not a strict requirement. You still can watch this video if you are not familiar with those. But anyways, it is better if you are familiar with Entity Framework, Swagger, C#, Inheritance, Dependency Injection, and Docker Container. Moving on, when we talk about the template, we have several features that are baked inside this template. Among of those features, we are not going to be use all of them. So that's why in this video, we're going to focus on some of the features and we're going to disable some of the features. So we have a simple up and running project that's going to allow you to create your application faster. So for example, we're going to be using in this video the authorization and authentication. We're going to be doing the audit logs. We're going to show you in the video here. And we're going to be using the generic repository. And as well, we are going to stay away from Signal R. We're going to stay away from background jobs. We're going to stay away of multi-tenancy. Those features are really, really important, only if you need it. However, in the contrary, if you don't need those features, it's better just to stay away and disable it so you have a clean slate where to start coding your application. So what are we going to be doing in this video? First, we're going to follow a set of steps that are going to allow you to do up and running your web application. For example, the first step is going to be start your Postgre container. So if you don't have an instance of Postgre database, I'm going to show you quickly how to start a new instance of Postgre database using a Docker container. Moving on, we're going to do a quick overview of the backend side of things of the framework. And we're going to look at how we're going to end up this video demonstration. So I'm going to be running Swagger and showing you, hey, what is the outcome of this video. As well, on the point number 3, we're going to download the ASP.NET Boilerplate template from the official web page. And as well, we're going to update the project. Again, we're going to be using Postgre database. So we're going to have to swap it out the current Microsoft SQL server that we have right now in project. So moving on, I'm going to do a database migration. So we populate the database with the tables and seed data that we already need in our database. Then we're going to start disabling some of the features that we don't even need for this project. Again, we're going to start up just the most simple project. So that's why we're going to be deleting or removing some features that right now we don't need it. Again, for the number 7, we're going to disable Signal R feature. We're going to disable multi-tenancy feature. And we're going to as well start creating our new entity, a student entity, and add it to the DB context class. And then after that, we're going to add an application service. And then we're going to look how the application service looks in the Swagger endpoint. And then actually, we're going to do a test of the create, read, update, and delete functionality. And as a bonus point, I'm going to show you the audit logs and generic repository. Again, this is going to give you the starting point for a new web application with those features disabled. So moving on, for the steps that I'm going to be following, I'm going to be using Command P on my Mac here. But as well, you can start using Control P on Windows to open and look for a file on a writer or VS Code. You can use those commands. So that's why, because we're going to be following step by steps. And don't worry about copying the steps from the video, because in the description, I'm going to give you the link where you're going to get all the steps one by one in a markdown file. So that's why I'm going to pause here the presentation for a moment and let's go for the steps that we're going to be following. So the first step is going to be doing on the terminal. I'm going to show you, I'm going to display the Docker Compose file that I'm going to be using. And then I'm going to start up the new database instance on my virtual machine that I have there. My virtual machine is called main test, where I'm going to having the virtual machine. So I'm not going to be doing Docker on my local laptop. But anyways, it's the same thing. So you can see there that I have a virtual machine that is called main test, that I am accessing the virtual machine using SSH. The virtual machine IP address is, this is a virtual machine IP address. And we can see that we have some files like a Docker Compose file, and we have .env file. So all I will do is Docker Compose up -t because I want to run this container as a daemon. So we can see my container is actually running, up and running. So we have two containers. We have PG container and we have pgadmin4 container. One of them is listening on the port 5432, and the other one is listening on the port 5050. So let's go and see if I can access this container, the pgadmin. So I mentioned the IP address is, and I'm gonna put this IP address in here. So I'm gonna get the email and the password I can get from the left side here, from the environment file. Actually, I have to add a new server. I'm gonna save the password. You can see that we have two databases because this is the current application I'm gonna be running. I'm gonna remove the V1 because this is the one we're gonna be doing today. So now we only have V2. And let's move on to our next step, which is going to be a quick overview of the backend project. So in this step, I'm going to show you the outcome of this video. Okay, for me, I'm going to be using Writer. Let me open Writer here. So again, this is the V2 of the application that we're going to be doing, and this is the final stage. So this is how we're going to end up by following the steps one by one. For example, remember that this is my college V2, again, the final stage of where we're going. And let's say you have to mention that we are using domain-driven design. That's why you can see that the core library, we have the application library, the project library, we have the entity framework core, and we have the core for the web and the web host. So you know that they are one calling the other. So for example, the core is being consumed by the application and so on and so forth. We're going to be talking about the domain-driven design in another video, but for now, I just want to show you the entity model that we have here. Again, Command P for me. So this is the class, a student class I created for this sample, for this demo video. And let's go to the application service again that was created for this video. So this is the most important relevant file from the things that we're going to be doing. This is a student app service that's inheriting from a sync CRUD app service that's taking some parameters there because this is a generic class. So therefore, this class is going to give it to you all the create, update, read, and delete methods that you need for your application service. So because this class is actually empty, anyways, we're going to get all the create, update, read, and delete methods that you need. I'm going to see it in action now. I'm going to run the Swagger so you can see it. So you can see the Swagger here. And because the student entity is just open for everyone, doesn't need any authorization, we're gonna just try to get a student. We can see that we have two students here, okay? So we have login, which is ID 1. We have login 2, which is ID 2. So let me move on to the next step here. Let's go and download the template from the official website. So again, I'm gonna show my project name is gonna be my college V1 because this example is using the V1. I'm gonna select the template version 8. I'm gonna select Angular, and I'm gonna click here and include login, register, user, role, and tenant management pages. I'm gonna unclick the one solution because I want two separate solutions for the backend and the frontend, and I just want to download the template. So that's it. You'll get your template downloaded. Moving on, we just download the template. Let's go to the step number 4. We're gonna update the project to use the PostgreSQL. Remember, right now this project is using Microsoft SQL Server, so I'm gonna swap Microsoft SQL Server with PostgreSQL. For that, I'm gonna go to Writer again. So remember that I just download this project, my college V1. Okay, and the very first thing that we'll do is just remove MySQL with PostgreSQL. So the very first thing that I will do is I'll go to this solution. I'm gonna be opening this solution here, the V1 solution. And then after I'm gonna go to, using my terminal, I'm gonna be opening this folder here. You can see that I am the current directory. And then I'm gonna go to cd, and then again, you're gonna get all of those commands on the video description. Don't worry too much. So we just change the directory. So we're gonna add this. So you need to go to the entity framework core. And then we can then run the command to add the package there. You can see the file was updated with this package there. But remember, I will just delete as well the Microsoft SQL Server reference, library reference. We don't need it now. So I see that I can get it this one, it's okay, and then I'm removing this one there, and then save the file. I shouldn't be able to compile the project because of reference that I just removed, right? All of those files, they are using Microsoft SQL Server. So the next step is to delete this reference, library reference from the project. We just did it. Moving on, I will open this file here. And I have to swap out the reference to use npgsql. Save the file. And then I need to remove all the files under the migration folder. Right click, delete, yes. And I'm gonna open this file and add the all model creating. Finally, I'm gonna open this file and I'm gonna add the method pre-initialize. Save the file. And I'm gonna be trying to compile the project. For me, I usually do Shift Command B, which is gonna be building the solution as well. Then, moving on to the next step, we're gonna be migrating over the Postgre database into the instance that we just created. The very first thing that I need to do is update the connection string. In the terminal, I will go to this again folder. Just added the migration, the new migration, the initial migration, and I will update the database. So if everything went well, it should get done there. Again, I will do Command Shift B to compile the project to make sure everything is okay. Next, we're gonna disable the background jobs. Remember, we don't need it now, so I'm gonna be opening this file. And in the same pre-initialize method, I'm gonna be adding this is job execution enable. I'm gonna copy the entire method here. Save it. In the meantime, I'm gonna moving on to continue disabling some features like signal R. We don't need it. So for me, I'm gonna go to this file. I'm gonna remove the package reference. The package reference, I'm gonna be removed there. I'm gonna remove the using and remove the module there. Okay, then moving on to this other file. From there, I'm gonna be removing the using, and I'm gonna comment out this line of code. I'll just remove it. And then pointer, you just remove it. For my example, you can comment it out for you. If you ever needed to enable it again, you can go there. Then compile the project. For me, again, it's Command Shift B. If everything is correct, you're gonna get built successfully. These other steps is just for the backend side of things. We're gonna leave it there for now. Moving on, we're gonna disable the multi-tenancy feature. The way they're gonna be doing that is to set it as a false on the constant file that we needed. So we're gonna say, hey, multi-tenancy enable is equal to false. Moving on to the next step, we're gonna be adding the models student class. So doing that, I'll be adding that folder. And then inside that folder, I'm gonna be adding a class, student class. And I just pasted in my sample student class. Moving on, I'm gonna be opening this file. And I'm gonna add this new student class to the entity collection there. And then in the terminal, I need to again do a migration, create a new migration, and update my database again, right? Because I am already in the entity framework project. I'm gonna do .NET EF migrations, add student entity. After that, we need to update the database. So pretty simple, right? So after this, let's check it out if our database was actually migrated over. Click refresh. You can see actually, yeah, the V1 is there. And we have the public schema. We have the tables. We can see the students. So moving on, we just did the migration to add our new entity. So now we need to add kind of something similar to a controller that will host your business logic or your backend functionality, so you can expose it into Swagger or into the internet, right? You need to expose your service in Swagger. For that, let's go to the step number 10. We're going to add the application service. Okay, because look at what happened. I have a sample code for this application service, and I just given to you the address in the repository. For me, I have created one script that I'm going to be running to generate those files from this other directory. I'm going to copy over into my new application. You are invited to go to the script. I will just execute it for the sake of the video. I'm gonna add a new terminal. Gonna be executing the file. You can see copy file started, source file was found, deleting existing files, copy directory, remove bonus files because we don't need it now, and update the project name. These are the name of the files that was created. So let's go to see if we actually have our new service inside the application. We can see students, we can see the new student app service application that was created. And then after, we need to open this file here, permission names. We're gonna be adding constant pages students. Then after, we're gonna go to see this other file. I'm gonna be adding the permission. I'm gonna go to this core module, and I will remove this line of code that I don't even need it. And then all I need to do is check the Swagger endpoint. So let me close those files here. Just select the project that I need to run is the web host. And now I'm gonna just run it. So again, this is our V1 project. This is our new Swagger API web page. We just created the student application service, which is gonna have inside there your create, update, read, and delete. Let's see if I can fetch all the students or if I can just add some students there. So I will try I get 200, it's fine. Create a student, I get 200 with a student, and then I can get a student. Actually, basically, that's it for you to get. Okay, so we just test the create, read, update, and delete functionality, right? But let's see if we just add the permissions, the authorization permissions there. I will just stop the project here, and I'm gonna remove this line of code, which is gonna say, AVP authorized, permission name, pages, student. So now this one here, you need the permission students to access this page. Okay, so now I will run it to see if I am actually forbidden to use the student API. You can see I'm getting 401 unauthorized. Try to authorize, I will do admin. So now I'm logged in. I can do execute and get. Actually, that's amazing. Let's move on to the next step. So we now see that we just add the permissions and we host the API, the Swagger API. Basically, that's all you need for pretty basic project to start up and running. However, sometimes we want to see the logs of the application. If you get an error, where to find the sections and where to find the errors, right? So that's why we have this bonus step. Let's see how it looks. So if you want to see the logs, it is actually being logged to a file, to a TXT file, to a text file. Basically, you can see there that we have everything that is happening in the application. Let's say I try to run it again. Let's say I do a get all. You'll see it here. There is as well another login. There's another login that you can get into the database. And this is the table called AVP Audit Logs. So I'll right click here, view data, You can see the student app service. See that I created there, the student. You see that when I fail the login, it's there as well. Very useful. This is two ways of see the login of the application. You can see in the table or you can see in the file, in the text file. So another thing of the great value that you get by using this template is the generic repository. Let's go and get the second example here for the student application service. For me, again, I have created a file, a script file, that's gonna populate for me those files that I need. Again, I do Control tilde here, and I'm gonna be using this file. Okay, I'll stop the project here. So now let's see our student application service. So now we just don't have anymore an empty class. We start adding some business logic to our application service. We can see the student application service that is using dependency injection to get a reference of two objects. One is the student generic repository and object mapper. Both of them, they are being assigned to a private read-only field in our class here. For example, you can see on the line 22, on the line 23. I have access to this one that are being populated and being assigned on the line 32 and the line 33. So from there, I can use these two objects in my custom business logic that I need. Let's say I need to get my custom list at sync, or I can create my custom student. Very important to see something here that sometimes we are using the base class repository and sometimes we are using our own local field. So for example, we are using the student repository, or we are using sometimes the repository object that is coming from the base class. The base class, remember, it is this one, async prod application service. And let's see how it looks in Swagger. So again, I need to authorize here. So I'm gonna get my custom list here. So it's 200, however, the results is empty because on my custom here, I need it to be the ID to be greater than 1. So then I will try to insert a new entity here, create a student, have a 200. If I get my custom list, I have keylogger, but now we have the ID too. So basically, we should see in Swagger the get my custom list, async, create my custom student B1, and create my custom student B2 again. This is really useful way to create your new web application, and you can start adding your methods that you only need, but as well you have already there the create, update, read, and delete. So let's move on to our presentation again. So that's gonna be it for this video. I will leave it there for now. In the coming video, I'm gonna show you an Angular application that we're gonna be adding as well student entity class and as well using the permissions so we can access our new Angular application. And we're gonna see that we have the roles and permissions web pages that you can start using for your new application. As well, moving on, there's another video that I'm gonna be showing to you how to use code generator that you can use to generate the backend code, the front-end code, so you can have applications up and running in no time. This code generator will give you the advantage that you need for a rapid application development. If you're finding values in this video, please give it a thumbs up, as well as subscribe if you want to get the notification for the coming video.